A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I want A+ English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I want A+ English.
Hi everyone, and welcome to A+ English. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
And our warm-up question for today is, what's your favorite movie? Why do you like it?
My favorite movie is A Star is Born.
Okay.
You watched that one?
Which one?
The one that Lady Gaga is in it.
Okay, so not the original, the more modern one.
Right.
Gotcha.
With Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
And I love their songs, music in the movie.
See.
What about yours?
I think you could probably guess the answer.
I can guess the answer.
I reckon you could if you have a think about it. I'll give you a clue. It's really 3 movies, but a lot of people think of
Godfather.
them as one. Good try. It's The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Of course, because it's also my favorite book, because it's pretty much the best set of movies ever made, because it changed cinema. Some say for the better, some say, well, we're still trying to recapture that magic and we can't quite do it. Why do I like it? For all of those reasons. But what makes a good movie? It's often the way you organize it. And that's what we're looking at in today's article. Let's read on.
Want to make a great movie? Think about these story types. Warm-up question. What's your favorite movie? Why do you like it?
Good movies can be exciting, scary, or funny, but they are always wonderful. Everyone loves a good movie, but not all movies are good. One of the keys to making a good movie is a good narrative. These 3 narrative structures can be used to really bring a movie to life. 3-act structure. This structure is the most basic of all. Every story from the beginning of time has a beginning, middle, and an end. That's what this structure uses. It gives a natural progression, so the most exciting part happens near the end. Most movies follow this structure, but great examples include Parasite and Inside Out.
So the article begins with a nice long statement to really get us in the mood. Good movies can be exciting, scary, or funny, but they are always wonderful.
没错，那我们先看到 scary 这个形容词是恐怖的，那是令人觉得害怕的哦。所以像是 a scary ghost story 就是令人害怕的鬼故事，a scary experience 那就是令人害怕的经验，恐怖的经验。
Yeah, you might say, I don't want to go on this roller coaster. It's scary.
It's scary, 那很可怕。那如果是人本身感到害怕，我们可以用 scared 这个字，像是 I'm scared of snakes。那课文说到呢，好的电影会是刺激的、恐怖的、好笑的和美好的。
So the article continues and says, everyone loves a good movie, but not all movies are good.
Very true.
Yeah, I've seen some terrible ones.
每个人都爱好电影，但不是每部电影都是好的哦。
So how do we know what's good and bad? And if you want to make movies, how can you make sure they're good ones? The article says one of the keys to making a good movie is a good narrative. We're going to explain what that means in a moment, but first we need to look at the word key.
没错，这边的 key 不是钥匙哦，那是什么意思呢？ Let's find out. Key 这个名词呢，在这边代表关键。The key to something， 或者是后面加上 VING， 代表某事的关键。像我们可以说 Persistence is the key to success， 代表坚持到底是成功的关键。那另外呢 key 当然也可以当作钥匙，像是我们可以说I forgot my car key in the car， 代表我把车钥匙忘在车里面了。那单字例句给的是呢 Studying hard is the key to success in your exams， 用功读书是考试成功的关键。
So, of course, there are many keys to making a good movie. You'll need good actors, you'll need good words for them to say, and you'll also need a good narrative, what we're going to talk about in a minute. Good characters are important. We could say good characters are key to a good story. But what's a narrative?
没错，所以刚刚 Pat 说到好的角色也是故事成功的关键，还有就是 narrative 这个名词代表故事叙述。
So a narrative is a sequence of events. They're things that happen. And when they're told in the right way, this makes a good story. So a story is a narrative in the right time order.
没错，所以呢，其中一个制作出好电影的关键就是一个好的故事，好的 narrative。
Yeah, and you can change the way, you can change where you start the story, you can change who's telling the story, you can change who the audience kind of listens to telling the story. There are lots of things you can do here, not just in movies, but in writing. The article says, these 3 narrative structures can be used to really bring a movie to life. So we're going to talk about 3 of these today and in tomorrow's part, and they are all narrative structures.
没错，我们会看到3个 narrative structures。那 narrative 我们刚刚说过是故事，是叙述。What about structure? Let's find out.Structure 这个名词呢，代表结构，所以我们刚刚说到的 narrative structures， 那就是叙事的结构。那像是我们学英文的时候呢，要照顾到句子的文法结构，那就是 the grammatical structure of a sentence。那另外实体的来看，大楼的结构有时候可能是钢筋结构 steel structure， 有的时候是水泥的结构 concrete structure。那单字例句给的是呢 Tom thought the structure of the novel was hard to understand. The most exciting part came at the beginning. Tom 觉得小说的架构很难理解，最刺激的部分竟然是一开始就出现了。
Right, if the exciting part is at the beginning, then what comes afterwards?
Right.
It's not so good. You could also say the structure of this book is exciting. It starts in the middle of the story with lots of action. Like a James Bond movie, they always start with an action scene, right?
Yeah, to get the audience attention.
Yeah, and that's a part of a structure. And these kind of structures bring stories to life.
没错 bring something to life 代表让某事物生动起来。
Yeah, we could also say the colorful pictures in this children's book help bring the story to life.
那以下呢有3种可以使用的叙事结构，可以让一部电影变得生动。What's the first one?
It is a 3-act structure.
这个是所谓的3幕式结构。
Here we're thinking acts like in a play. The acts are like the story cut up. Each bit ends on a kind of an exciting moment, and then the final part sort of finishes and wraps everything up. It's a very old idea, and the article says this structure, the 3-act structure, is the most basic of all.
这边呢，我们看到形容词最高级的用法哦。当你看到 of all 的时候呢，代表在所有之中，所以这边在说的是在所有之中之最。
Now, we'll learn a bit more about this kind of grammar structure in day 2. Here, let's just say it means this structure, the 3-act structure, is really basic. It's the most basic you can get. But what does basic mean?
Let's find out. Basic 这个形容词呢，代表基本的，所以我们说啊 ，a basic concept 代表的是基础的概念。Basic knowledge 代表的是基础知识，那人们呢都会有基本的需求 ，people's basic needs， 像是什么呢 ？We need food， 我们需要食物 ；We need water， 需要水；需要 clothing， 衣服 ；sleep， 睡觉，还要 shelter， 还要可以居住的地方。那单词例句给的是呢 ，The basic parts of a hamburger are the bread, meat, and vegetables。汉堡的基本组成是面包、肉和蔬菜。
We could also say this basic card game is simply about collecting sets of similar cards.
那课文刚刚说到的是呢，三幕结构啊，是所有当中最基本的。
Okay, so when we think about a basic structure, we think about very simple stories and how we tell them. The article says, every story from the beginning of time has a beginning, middle, and an end.
Okay, beginning 是一开始的时候，end 是结尾。What about middle? Let's take a look.Middle 这个名词呢代表中间，所以像刚刚我们说到的 beginning 是开头 middle 是中间 end 是结尾处。那如果我们说啊 in the middle of the road 代表是在路的中间中央 in the middle of the night 那就是在半夜咯。So for example we can say he was caught talking on the phone in the middle of the night 他被抓到半夜在讲电话。那如果我们说呢，某人做事做到一半的时候，另外一个事情发生，我们可以用 in the middle of doing something， 像是呢 the power went out when she was in the middle of cooking， 她煮饭到一半的时候停电了。那单字例句给的是呢 look at this picture I'm in the middle between my two brothers， 你看这张照片，我在中间，然后呢在我两个弟弟之间。
Another way we could say this would be, in the middle of the soccer game, the players took a short break.
那刚刚说到的三幕结构呢，在说的就是每个故事都应该有开头、中场和结尾。
Okay, so beginning, middle, end, pretty simple stuff. And the article says that, or that beginning, middle, end stuff, that's what this structure uses.
这就是呢结构所运用的顺序。那我们这边看到 what 名词子句哦，可以放在什么样的句子里面呢？像是 This is what I want， 这就是我要的东西，或者是 I don't know what you are talking about， 我不知道你在说什么诶。那我们现在先进到 Magic Box 听讲师讲解 what 名词子句。
Magic Box。
大家好，我是星座专家唐綺阳。2020到现在呢，可能都还是感觉一片混乱哦，这是很正常的，大家不要担心哦。因为呢，2020到2023这4年呢都在转变。从星象学来看呢，改变是很大的改变哦，全盘翻新的那种改变。你可能会觉得呢 ，I don't know what I should do， 我不知道应该做些什么。或者是呢 I don't know what these changes will do to me， 不知道这些变化对我有什么影响。但是不要担心哦，大家只要保持善良的心，怎么样的转变我们都能够化解了。讲完了你可能更疑惑，不知道我该怎么做，还不知道what 这个字要怎么用了。你可能知道呢 what 可以当作疑问词，我们可以用它来造问句。比方说呢 What are you doing? What's up? OK， 都是呢用 what 开头来问什么东西。但是呢，你知道啊，这个字呢，其实呢可以当名词放在句子里面吧？嘿嘿，不用担心哦，马上呢我们一起来看一下咯。英文里面呢有所谓名词子句的用法哦，也就是说呢，它是一个句子，但是呢，它能够发挥名词的功能，在句子里面呢，它就能够当主词、当受词。那 what 这个单字呢就有这个功能了，它能够引导一个子句在另一个句子里面呢来发挥名词的功能哦。这个 what 引导的名词子句呢，我们应该要怎么形成呢？我们呢可以看一下前面开头的句子咯。I don't know what I should do， 我不知道我该怎么做。I don't know 这个动词呢后面呢就是可以加上你不知道的事，所以呢我们现在需要的也就是一个受词了。所以在这里呢我们就用 what 引导。OK， 注意到呢跟问句的形成不太一样哦。在这里呢我们 what 引导的名词子句不需要倒装，所以呢 I don't know 后面就接上 what I should do。 OK， 就在这个句子里面呢它就发挥了受词的功用咯。或者是呢我们可以看到这一句 You won't believe what I did in class， 你不会相信哦，我在课堂上做了什么。一样呢，我们 what 引导的子句呢，在这边作为 believe 的受词哦，后面引导的子句呢，一样不需要倒装咯。以上呢，就是我们 what 引导名词子句的用法。诶，什么 what？ 你问我在课堂上做了什么？诶，当然是学会了怎么用 what 来引导名词子句啊！你也赶快学会啦。
Welcome back. We're talking about the 3-act structure with the beginning, the middle, and the end. And we see in the article, again, this structure, gives a natural progression. So the most exciting part happens near the end.
Progression 这个名词啊，代表的是进展、发展，所以三幕句呢会让故事有 natural progression 自然的发展。那自然发展的故事最刺激的部分会在接近结尾的时候出现。
Right, we're talking about the order and the sequence and how we move gradually towards the end. Like if you're going to watch all the Marvel films, are you going to start with Avengers 4? No, you would watch probably Avengers 1 or even start with the first Iron Man and watch them onwards. Then you will see the MCU in its natural progression with more characters coming in, the characters developing, and then them coming together for the big battles.
没错。
So that is what we mean by this progression. And we see, as I've just mentioned with the Marvel stuff, most movies follow this structure. But great examples include Parasite and Inside Out.
I like both the movies.
Not seen either.
这边呢看到 include 这个动词呢，代表包括，所以大部分的电影都会跟着这样子的结构走，就是三幕式的结构。那最棒的例子就是《寄生上流》和《脑筋急转弯》。那如果这边我们要用到 including 这个介系词的话呢，我们可以说 Most movies follow this structure, including Parasite and Inside Out.
Yeah, it's using a preposition rather than a verb. We could say, this meal set includes a drink and some French fries. Or, this hamburger comes as part of a set including a drink and some French fries.
所以 including 呢，它通常在句中出现，然后是个介系词的用法哦。
Okay, so that explains a 3-act structure. We'll explain more in our review time and we'll look at 2 more structures tomorrow, but let's go to our review time activity right now.
Review time.
So let's think of a super simple story, Goldilocks and the 3 Bears.
Oh, we learned that story.
Yeah, quite recently in A+. Let's put it in a 3-act structure. So it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So the main events of the Goldilocks story, she finds a house, she eats some porridge in the bowls, she sits on some chairs and breaks one, she sleeps in the beds, the bears come back home and find the mess, and then they find Goldilocks. Oh no, it's the end. So if we were going to put this in a 3-act structure, the beginning, of course, is Goldilocks finding the house, eating the porridge, sitting on the chairs. Now, that would be where we cut Act 1. She's broken a chair, okay? That's this is serious. She's smashed something. What's going to happen now? So Act 2, she gets into the bed, she falls asleep, and then the bears come back and find the mess. We probably end Act 2 with the bears hearing Goldilocks snoring. Something like that. Or maybe the bears finding all this mess when they come back from their walk. How is this story going to wrap up? How is it going to finish? That is Act 3. They find her, she runs away, she says she'll never come back, or whatever else we do for the end of the story.
Okay, so in Act 2, that's where the climax is, right?
Kind of the climax is between sort of 2 and 3, depending on, there are other story structures where you have the climax and then there's some what we call falling action.
Right.
It's known as Freytag's pyramid. That's a completely different structure. We're not going to look at it in these articles, but as a 3-act structure, you would probably do it around there with the first act ending after the chairs and the second act ending maybe when the bears get home, maybe when they find the broken chair. If you do both acts ending on the chairs, that's good because they both end with the same kind of part of the story.
Right.
The broken chair. So that's kind of good structure stuff.
And in the end, they discovered the little girl.
Yes, and she wakes up and she sees the bears and she gets scared, and that's all the very exciting part. You'll often notice that the third act is shorter than the early acts because a lot of this is setting up things.
铺陈.
Setting up conflicts and characters, getting all the pieces in the right place so you can have an exciting conclusion. So that is a 3-act structure. We're going to look at 2 other structures tomorrow and try the same thing with Goldilocks. Join us again then. Bye for now.
Bye.
Want to make a great movie? Think about these story types. Warm-up question. What's your favorite movie? Why do you like it?
Good movies can be exciting, scary, or funny, but they are always wonderful. Everyone loves a good movie, but not all movies are good. One of the keys to making a good movie is a good narrative. These 3 narrative structures can be used to really bring a movie to life. 3-act structure. This structure is the most basic of all. Every story from the beginning of time has a beginning, middle, and an end. That's what this structure uses. It gives a natural progression, so the most exciting part happens near the end. Most movies follow this structure, but great examples include Parasite and Inside Out.
Word power.
Key. Studying hard is the key to success in your exams. Studying hard is the key to success in your exams. Structure. Tom thought the structure of the novel was hard to understand. The most exciting part came at the beginning. Tom thought the structure of the novel was hard to understand. The most exciting part came at the beginning. Basic. The basic parts of a hamburger are the bread, meat, and vegetables. The basic parts of a hamburger are the bread, meat, and vegetables. Middle. Look at this picture. I'm in the middle between my 2 brothers. Look at this picture. I'm in the middle between my 2 brothers.
认识字汇
Scary. Narrative. Narration. Progression.